There are moments in life when we look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back. Not because something's wrong, but because something massive is changing. Something cosmic, something cellular. If you've been feeling like a stranger to your own mind, your own emotions, your own patterns, this is not a breakdown. This is not you losing yourself. This is a dimensional shift. And I'm here to tell you, if you're feeling unrecognizable right now, you're not alone. You're not broken. You are shifting into the fifth dimension. And it's bigger than you can imagine. I've been through this. We all have, at some level. That moment of waking up and realizing the old ways of being chasing, forcing, controlling just don't work anymore. That the things you used to love no longer excite you. That the relationships you were once addicted to now feel suffocating. That your dreams, your goals, your entire self-identity feels like an outfit you outgrew overnight. It's not subtle. It's not easy. It's a soul quake. And it means you're being initiated into a new frequency of reality. The fifth dimension isn't a place. It's a state of consciousness. It's a frequency where reality is no longer shaped by fear, control, or survival, but by resonance, flow, and alignment. And when your soul begins to remember that frequency, your human life starts to dissolve anything that doesn't match it. That's why everything feels strange. That's why you're questioning everything. That's why you feel both lost and liberated at once. Because you're not becoming someone new. You're shedding who you were never meant to be. This shedding is intense. You may feel tired for no reason, emotional out of nowhere. You may cry without a story, laugh without logic. You'll have days where you feel like you're floating, and others where gravity hits you like a ton of bricks. Your nervous system is recalibrating. Your DNA is activating. Your perception is being recoded to see beyond the veil. And this is where most people panic. They think they're depressed. They think they're going crazy. But what's really happening is they're being unplugged from the matrix. From the 3D framework of lack, judgment, separation, and fear. They're remembering their multidimensional nature. And yes, that remembering feels like forgetting everything you thought you were.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Let me ask you something. When was the last time you felt truly aligned? Not just successful, not just validated, but aligned. Like your outer world reflected your inner truth. Like your choices felt like extensions of your soul. Like you were living from a deep, quiet knowing instead of noise and pressure. If it's been a while, or if you've never felt that you're not alone, most of us were trained away from alignment. We were trained to look outward for worth, for approval, for identity. The 5D shift dismantles all of that. It strips away everything false. Not to punish you, but to free you, or to bring you back into coherence. And here's where it gets wild. The more unrecognizable you feel, the closer you are to realignment. Because that discomfort, that disorientation, that's the ego dissolving. That's the 3D version of you, built from trauma and conditioning losing its grip. And the soul version of you, the one who chose to incarnate in this timeline, is finally stepping forward. You are not losing yourself. You are meeting yourself. But this meeting doesn't happen all at once. It unfolds layer by layer. First, you notice your thoughts changing. You no longer believe the fear-based narratives you once clung to. You start questioning the voices in your head. Is this even me? Becomes a daily mantra. Then your emotions shift. You begin to feel more deeply, and not just for others, for yourself. You feel the grief you suppressed for years, the anger you were taught to deny, the joy you forgot you were allowed to feel. And then your body joins the party. You start craving different foods. You become sensitive to chemicals, toxins, even certain people's energy. Your body is no longer just a vessel. It's becoming a tuning fork for truth. And as this unfolds, your outer world begins to reflect the inner shift. Old relationships fall away. Not from hate, but from frequency mismatch. You stop chasing people who don't see you. You stop trying to fix what doesn't want to be healed. You stop pretending that you're okay with mediocrity. You start demanding authenticity. You start choosing peace over performance. You start creating a life that feels like home. But let's be honest, this isn't always graceful. The 5D shift is messy. It's lonely. It's confusing. Because you're not just changing, you're being reborn. And rebirth requires death. The death of roles. The death of illusions. The death of everything you once clung to. It's terrifying. But it's also sacred. Because on the other side of that death is freedom. Real freedom. Not the kind you buy. Not the kind you post. The kind that lives in your cells. The kind that radiates from your eyes. The kind that can't be faked. And here's where things really click. Once you stop trying to go back, once you stop trying to make the old life fit the new you begin to receive guidance. You begin to feel supported by forces you can't explain. You meet people who feel like instant soul family. You receive downloads, synchronicities, dreams that feel more real than waking life. You begin to co-create with the universe instead of fighting it. And suddenly, everything starts to make sense. Not logically, but soulfully. This is the 5D way. It's not about escaping the world. It's about embodying your divinity in the world. It's about becoming the bridge between realms, the translator of light, the activator of others. And to do that, you have to let go of who you thought you were. You have to trust the unknown more than the familiar. You have to surrender to the unfolding without needing to control it. So let me ask you something deep. What are you still holding on to that no longer feels like truth? What part of your identity is begging to be released? What would happen if you stopped resisting the unrecognizable version of you and started honoring it? Because that version of you, the one that feels strange, foreign, even scary, is the one you came here to become. It's the version of you that remembers its multidimensional nature, that knows how to move between timelines, that doesn't just react, but responds from presence, that doesn't just survive, but creates. And the moment you say yes to that version, even if you don't fully understand it, you begin to accelerate. You begin to align. You begin to magnetize experiences that match your soul's frequency. Not because you're manifesting harder, but because you are the frequency now. You're no longer hoping for change. You are the change. This is the gift of the fifth dimension. Not perfection, not constant bliss, but presence, alignment, coherence, the ability to live from your truth, moment by moment, without abandoning yourself. And when enough of us do that, the world begins to shift. Not from the top down, but from the inside out. Bring from the heart, from the body, from the soul. So if you're feeling unrecognizable right now, if you don't know who you are anymore, if everything feels like it's falling apart, take a deep breath. You're not dying. You're awakening. You're not lost. You're being recalibrated. You're not broken. You've outgrown your old self. And now, it's time to rise. DNA of the divine. How to rewire your body, mind, and soul for 5D living. If you've made it this far, then something sacred is already happening within you. Your frequency is rising, slowly, quietly, undeniably. It's like your soul has been whispering to you in the silence between thoughts, in the stillness between breaths. And finally, you're beginning to listen. You're beginning to remember. You're beginning to awaken not just mentally, but energetically, cellularly. This is not about information anymore. This is about transformation. You are no longer just thinking about the fifth dimension, you are becoming the embodiment of it. And that embodiment requires a total rewiring of everything you've ever been taught to believe about yourself, your body, your mind, and your soul. We must begin where all things begin, the body. In 3D, the body is seen as a machine, something to control, to push, to manipulate. Rest is seen as laziness. Emotion is weakness. Pleasure is shameful. But in 5D, the body is not a machine, it is a sacred vessel, an antenna, a bridge between the physical and the energetic. It carries not only your organs and bones, but your memories, your trauma, your ancestry, your psychic imprints. Every cell is intelligent. Every system is communicating. Your body is not separate from your consciousness, it is an extension of it. And when you begin to treat it that way, everything changes. You begin to feel what your body has been trying to tell you all along. The tightness in your chest, old grief, the pain in your hips, suppressed emotions, the migraines, unspoken truths, the fatigue, energetic misalignment. We've been conditioned to numb these symptoms with pills, routines, distractions. But in 5D, we lean in. We listen. We ask, what are you trying to show me? Because the body never lies. It is a living map of your spiritual evolution. And the more you honor it, the more it opens. The more it guides you. The more it upgrades. Yes, upgrades. Because as you shift into 5D consciousness, your DNA is not static. It is dynamic. It is listening. It is responding to your thoughts, your emotions, your environment, your intention. The old science taught us that DNA is a fixed blueprint, but the new understanding, what mystics have always known, is that DNA is malleable. It's a quantum interface, and your consciousness is the keyboard. Every time you choose love over fear, presence over projection, intuition over logic, you activate dormant codes within your DNA. You awaken gifts that have been sleeping for lifetimes. These gifts are not fantasy, they are the natural byproducts of 5D embodiment. Heightened intuition, energy sensitivity, telepathy, instant manifestation, healing abilities, timeless awareness. These are not superpowers. They are your birthright. But they only come online when your frequency is high enough to hold them. And to raise your frequency, you must do the work. Not the hustle, the alignment. You must detox your body, your mind, your soul. You must clear the density. Let's talk about the mind. The 3D mind is addicted to control. It wants certainty, predictability, identity. It thrives on labels, logic, linearity. But in the 5th dimension, the mind is no longer the master, it becomes the servant of the heart, of the soul, of the higher self. And this transition is one of the most painful and liberating shifts you'll ever go through. Because the mind will resist. It will scream. It will try to convince you to go back to the familiar, the safe, the logical. But you must choose differently. You must learn to witness the mind without becoming it. To observe your thoughts without believing every one of them. This is where meditation becomes essential. Not as a chore, but as a tuning practice, or recalibration. Every time you sit in stillness, you are creating space between you and your thoughts, between you and the matrix, between you and the old programming. And in that space, something magical happens. You begin to hear a different voice, softer, wiser, older than time. It doesn't shout. It doesn't argue. It simply knows. That voice is your higher self, your 5D navigator. And the more you listen to it, the less power the ego mind holds. But be prepared, the ego doesn't vanish without a fight. It will throw tantrums. It will use fear, doubt, comparison, shame. It will try to seduce you back into the old paradigm. You're not ready. Who do you think you are? This is too much. No one will understand. These thoughts are not the truth. They are echoes of a world that is dying. A world built on separation and scarcity. And every time you choose presence over panic, you weaken the echo. You reclaim your power. Now, let's talk about the soul. In 3D, the soul is often treated like a concept, something abstract, something to think about on Sunday mornings or during a crisis. But in 5D, the soul is your operating system. It is the intelligence that animates your entire being. It holds your purpose, your karma, your contracts, your gifts. It is not separate from you, it is you. The real you. The eternal you. And when you start living from the soul, everything changes. Your decisions become clearer. Your relationships become more aligned. Or your synchronicities multiply. You stop chasing purpose and start embodying it. But to live from the soul, you must clear the noise. The noise of conditioning. The noise of self-doubt. The noise of inherited beliefs that were never yours to begin with. And this requires deep, honest, radical inner work, shadow work, ancestral healing, inner child integration. You must go into the places you've avoided, the places within you that still believe you are not enough, that you are not lovable, that you are not divine. Because the soul cannot fully express through a vessel that is still carrying shame. And here's the paradox. The more you embrace your humanity, the more your divinity shines through. 5D isn't about being perfect. It's about being real, being whole, being integrated. It's about feeling your anger without becoming it, feeling your sadness without drowning in it, feeling your joy without clinging to it. It's about allowing it all without judgment. Because judgment is the language of 3D. Acceptance is the language of 5D. And the more you speak the language of acceptance, the more the universe opens to you. This brings us to one of the most important practices of 5D living, embodiment. Because knowing all of this means nothing unless you live it, unless you breathe it, unless you integrate it into your choices, your habits, your relationships. Embodiment means becoming the truth you've remembered. It means walking differently, speaking differently, loving differently. It means aligning your actions with your frequency. And that's not always easy, because the world around you may not understand. They may still be asleep, still plugged into the matrix, still playing roles. But you're awake now. You feel things others don't. You see through things others still worship. You remember what it's like to live in resonance, and that remembering can be lonely at first, but it becomes liberating. Because you realize you don't need permission anymore. You don't need validation. You don't need to convince anyone. You are free. Free to live from your center. Free to honor your truth. Free to build a reality that reflects your soul. And that's the ultimate invitation, to become a master of your frequency. To wake up every day and ask, what energy am I choosing today? Not what the world demands, not what your past decided, but what your soul desires. Because in 5D, your reality is not fixed, it's fluid. It responds to you. It mirrors your inner state. Change your energy, and you change your timeline. Change your belief, and you change your future. Change your vibration, and you change your reality. So I ask you now, what are you broadcasting? What are you emanating? What are you co-creating? Are you still living from old fears, or are you choosing new frequencies? Are you still surviving, or are you ready to thrive? Because this is the moment, the crossroads, the great remembering. You were not born to be a passive observer. You were born to be a conscious creator, a frequency holder, a divine disruptor, a living, breathing bridge between heaven and earth. And the time to activate that role is now. You don't need to wait until you feel ready. You are ready. You don't need to heal every wound first. Your frequency is the healing. You don't need to have all the answers. Your presence is the portal. So breathe, align, remember. You are the shift. You are the code. You are the fifth dimension.